Auckland hotel has gone to the High Court to try to stop protesters putting guests off their breakfast. A union representing cleaners at Key West has been demonstrating outside the hotel and apartment block, but the hotel says the noise is unacceptably loud.
And it's time New Zealand said, we had enough of this, matey.
This is the sound of the 7 a.m. wake-up call the guests didn't ask for.
We are tired of international companies coming to New Zealand and paying low wages to New Zealanders.
The Key West is one of 2 Auckland hotels operated by Sydney-based Mirvac. Fed up by the protest noise, the hotel has taken the union to court to try and shut them up. The hotel says its guests have complained about lack of sleep and an inability to converse over breakfast. The hotel itself says its business could suffer irreparably.
People are allowed to demonstrate, to expose the low wages of workers in this country.
The hotel says it respects the union's right to protest, just wishes it would do so more quietly. And a judge decided their application for an urgent injunction could wait a week. So the union went straight from the court to the picket line, along with the Scottish Member of Parliament, Colin Fox, in town to lend his voice.
$9.50 is an insult to us all, so the picket stays right here.
The contractor who hires them says $9.50 an hour is just the training rate for the cleaners, a rate few of them are on. His company went to the Employment Tribunal today to get a date for mediation and is hoping to be able to pay the cleaners better wages in future. Kim Hurring, 3 News.
The government and Taranaki
At lunchtime.
An Auckland hotel has gone to the High Court to try to stop protesters putting guests off their breakfast. A union representing cleaners at Key West has been demonstrating outside the hotel and apartment block, but the hotel says the noise is unacceptably loud.
And it's time New Zealand said, we had enough of this, matey.
This is the sound of the 7 a.m. wake-up call the guests didn't ask for.
We are tired of international companies coming to New Zealand and paying low wages to New Zealanders.
The Key West is one of 2 Auckland hotels operated by Sydney-based Mirvac. Fed up by the protest noise, the hotel has taken the union to court to try and shut them up. The hotel says its guests have complained about lack of sleep and an inability to converse over breakfast. The hotel itself says its business could suffer irreparably.
People are allowed to demonstrate, to expose the low wages of workers in this country.
The hotel says it respects the union's right to protest, just wishes it would do so more quietly. And a judge decided their application for an urgent injunction could wait a week. So the union went straight from the court to the picket line, along with the Scottish Member of Parliament, Colin Fox, in town to lend his voice.
$9.50 is an insult to us all, so the picket stays right here.
The contractor who hires them says $9.50 an hour is just the training rate for the cleaners, a rate few of them are on. His company went to the Employment Tribunal today to get a date for mediation and is hoping to be able to pay the cleaners better wages in future. Kim Hurring, 3 News.
Well, we have got a pretty wet weekend ahead of us. Perfect time to go to the movies. Maybe, though, you should think twice about the guy or the girl selling you the ticket, especially if you're going in Wellington at the Reading Cinema, where staff aren't happy. In the 2.5 years the theatre's been open, management has increased their pay by a paltry 10 cents an hour. Adult employees make $9 an hour, which is minimum wage. Staff under 18 make $7.20, also minimum wage. The union says they've also had their 10-minute paid break taken away, so now in an 8-hour shift they get 1 half-hour unpaid break. Tonight they're taking things into their own hands. They're handing out free popcorn to patrons, a novel kind of way of getting your point across. With us now, staff member Patricia Hetherington, and a bit of action going on behind you. Patricia, what are you hoping to achieve with this stunt tonight?
Well, we're trying to get support from the public at the moment, just so that they realise what situation we're in. We want people to realise that we are on minimum wage. I've been working there 2.5 years, and the only increase I've ever had is 10 cents up to minimum wage. When we first opened, we were paid 90 cents above minimum wage. Minimum wage came up, and we were paid 40 cents above minimum wage. In negotiations, they offered us 40 cents above minimum wage again, and we rejected it. And then they realised that they were taking away youth rates and offered us another offer, which was worse, which didn't get rid of youth rates. So, yeah, at the moment we're trying to get people support.
Look, unemployment's at pretty much a low at the moment and jobs are plentiful. Why don't you just go get a job somewhere else?
I'm not looking to get another job here. I love this place. I've been working here since the beginning, and it was a real family sort of, but it's just very difficult to enjoy your job when they make things so difficult. Working a 5-hour shift without a 10-minute break makes it very difficult. I'm not leaving until I get a better deal for everybody else who works there, for the people who are going to be working there for the next 2 years, and anybody else who works in a job like mine.
Is it not, though, the employer's right to pay minimum wage if they wish to?
Well, the thing is, if they want the best service, then it's not really fair on us. I mean, I've been working there 2.5 years. I've actually trained most of the managers, if not all of the managers, in one form or another. And I'm sorry, 10 cents. We want recognition of service. We want an end to youth rates. And I don't see why somebody who's been working there for a year, knows their job through and through, gets paid the bare minimum.
Isn't youth rate a national issue, though, or a government issue rather than an individual employer issue?
Well, you've got to understand the government has raised the minimum wage, which is great, but we had our Australian management come over in a meeting and tell us there is no way we are ever going to pay you more than we have to. And you've got to understand we're the flagship cinema in New Zealand, the flagship Reading cinemas, and they make a lot of money. So we're giving away free popcorn. It costs them 22 cents to make the popcorn that we charge $6 for.
If, though, Patricia, they have told you they're not going to pay you any more than the minimum wage, you're banging your head against a brick wall, aren't you?
Well, we are trying very hard to get as best a deal as we can. The best deal that we can. I mean, we've got one of our workers is 17. He's getting paid $7.20 an hour, and he's struggling to pay the rent. So, I mean, is that fair? He's been working there for over a year, and he knows his job really well. How is that fair?
I guess I'm not arguing the rights or the wrongs of it, but it seems to me in a free market that you go and find something else that pays you better if you don't like or you're not happy with your current conditions.
Well, we're not happy, but we're staying here until we get better conditions for everyone else.
What sort of support are you getting from the patrons and the people going by?
We're getting lots of support, which is great. We're getting people signing our petition. We're handing out pamphlets, and people are taking those, and it's great. We're getting a lot of calls out, and yeah,
I guess
great.
So you're not shutting down the movies, are you? You're not stopping people going to the movies?
Oh, no. People can go to the movies. What we are doing is we're saying they make the majority of their money at the candy bar. Have some of our free popcorn rather than paying $6 for it.
All right, Patricia, good to talk to you tonight. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And we did make a lot of attempts today to contact Reading Cinemas for comment. They failed to return our calls. Too busy, I guess, dealing with what they were dealing with.
An Auckland student protest has turned into a near riot after teenage demonstrators ran down the city's main street demanding the abolition of youth pay rates. Police made 2 arrests.
This is not truancy, this is activism! Yeah! No more youth rates!
It started as a protest against youth rates at Aotea Square.
I say this is education. This is the real education on the streets.
But without warning, more than 1,000 students began charging down Queen Street.
Do you think things are starting to get a bit out of control?
No, not at all. We're not causing any damage.
Get these guys off the road, mate.
Police squads were called to the scene to calm agitated protesters who started sitting down in the middle of major intersections. Police didn't take long to swoop.
Pushed me back and I fell over. and that's what happened.
News that 2 students have been arrested so far has just caused unrest with the crowds here today, but they're being told if no more incidents occur on their way back to Aotea Square, there'll be no more arrests.
And while the impromptu march didn't exactly turn quiet, there were no more arrests.
This is completely unorganised.
Crowds dispersed a short time later.
And just the organisation of it was poor. I think one of the organisers was 12 or 13 years old.
But students say they'll plan more action until their voices heard and youth rates are abolished. Donna Marie Lever, One News.
The first mass stop work meeting of fast food workers since the 1980s has attracted more than 600 workers. Their unions calling for youth rates to be scrapped and for the minimum wage to be supersized. Selena Tehran reports.
While Poto Sofili enjoys living at home, she'd like to move out. But as long as she's flipping burgers at McDonald's, she can't afford to.
Being like one of the biggest cities in New Zealand, none of the prices are decreasing and stuff, and it's just so high. Like even the bus prices have gone up, so I don't bus to work. I have to get dropped off, and petrol prices are going up as well.
4 years ago, she started out on $8 an hour, with a pay rise of 86 cents per hour each year. Now she's a training manager, earning $11.46 an hour. And even though that's more than the minimum wage, it still won't pay her bills.
I don't know how I've been doing it for the past few months, but it's not enough.
Poto's story typifies other minimum wage earners who showed up in their hundreds at today's Stop Work rally, organised by the fast food union Unite.
New Zealand is currently in a low wage crisis, and it's time that these companies that are paying minimum wage give workers secure hours, end youth rates and pay workers equally for the same job and lift the minimum wage to a fair $12 minimum wage now.
And while no formal studies have been done, it's estimated there's around 200,000 minimum wage earners in New Zealand. But today the workers receive support from politicians to famous musicians.
Oh, but you came along and changed my life.
The minimum wage for an adult is $9.50, and with the cost of living in Auckland just rocketing, it's just ludicrous.
Wages in this country are far too low.
3 News tried contacting McDonald's and Restaurant Brands, the company responsible for other fast food outlets, but neither company would comment on today's rally. Selena Tehran, 3 News.
Irua went on strike tonight, demanding better hours and more pay. And in Auckland, Restaurant Brands national call centre staff also stopped work in aid of the cause. The strike was part of the Supersize My Pay campaign.
Someone from Invercargill called me and said, am I going to be able to get my pizza tonight? I said, have you heard of Harris Pizza?
The call centre mainly deals with Pizza Hut orders, and calls had to be diverted to the restaurants themselves, causing delays.
Workers at Starbucks coffee shops in Auckland have begun what may be a world first for the multinational: strike action. The staff want better wages and more regular hours. Selena Tehran's been hearing from some of them.
Dozens of workers from 10 shops joined the strike, seeking a bigger slice of the profits for themselves.
You're working like 9-hour shifts and you only get paid, 10 or 9 bucks an hour.
And they point out that their hourly rate is less than the price of 2 cups of coffee.
I'm annoyed about the hours being cut, and I'm annoyed that I'm not guaranteed hours, and I'm annoyed about the pay.
I've missed out on an extra $2 for about 6 months, and they wouldn't back pay me either.
Their union represents all fast food workers. It wants the government to fast-track a promised rise in the minimum wage from $9.50 an hour to $12.
It's a large campaign. It's not just about Starbucks, it's about all fast food industries. Starbucks is just one of many fast food industries in New Zealand that pay minimum wage.
But the government's in no rush.
Quite a significant increase. It's $2.50 over 3 years, and we'll be phasing that in as appropriate, but we haven't made any decisions about the rate in which we'll do that just yet.
The union also wants youth rates abolished and more consistent hours of work. Restaurant Brands, the company which owns Starbucks and other fast food chains, would not appear on camera, but say they're surprised at the strike because the chain pays above the minimum wage and doesn't pay youth rates. Selena Tehran, 3 News.
G'day everyone, Hardy Mo, welcome to the show. It's Wednesday the 22nd of November. Happy birthday, Billy the Kid. Tonight, a world first, a strike at Starbucks, and it happened here in New Zealand. Yes, it's never happened anywhere in the world before, which is perhaps surprising, considering there are almost 10,000 Starbucks outlets worldwide. 10,000. Indeed, Starbucks is so big, their shares sell at $31 each, and their market capitalization is $24.25 billion. And part of what makes Starbucks so successful is, of course, its labour force. They're good, they're cheap, and like many workers in the hospitality industry, they're mostly casuals. In fact, if you want to meet a casual worker, buy fast food. When next you buy a burger or some chicken, a pizza or a frappuccino from any one of the big chains, it's almost certain that the person serving you will be a casual worker. And the problem casuals face is the uncertainty of their tenure. If you're a permanent worker, you probably know what hours you're going to work next week, but a casual may not have a clue. And when you do get the work, the wages aren't high. Let's look at minimum wages. Say this is an average group of workers. Well, New Zealand law says the little kid down the front left there is entitled to a minimum youth rate of $7.60 an hour. And the adults, that's 18 years and over, well, our law sets the minimum wage here at $9.50 an hour, as you can see. In England, it's the equivalent of $12.56, and in Australia, it's a lot higher, the equivalent of $13.10. Now, Starbucks workers in New Zealand start at $10 an hour and don't move much beyond that, frankly. And today, 35 of them walked off the job in Auckland seeking higher pay and a change in conditions. Claire Sylvester's been with the workers and their union as they prepared for their big day outs.
Easy, Marty. All right, we're on strike. First Starbucks worker in the world to strike. On strike from now.
16-year-old Nick Ogle, full-time worker at Starbucks at St Luke's in Auckland.
Welcome along, boys!
They're off to pick up other Unite members who are taking part in this world-first industrial action.
At Starbucks, we're overworked, underpaid. Our start rate is shocking, and we get just not enough. You know, we have no extra cash for, you know, uniforms or anything. We have to pay out of pocket for that. And with the price of everything else going up, it's just becoming really hard to live.
So how much are you paid, Nick?
I'm paid $10 and I've been with Starbucks almost 2 years.
So what do you think you should be paid?
I think I should be paid a minimum of $12 per hour.
One by one, other workers from around Auckland joined him in Newmarket,
Strike!
and the city before they joined the rally at K Road.
What do we want? $12 an hour! When do we want it? Now! What do we want?
Nick, you've made the first step. I mean, many of the other workers I know are going to be with us. You look at today, and this is going to be all through the summer. So when you guys get $12 an hour, get rid of youth rates and get rid of casuals, you'll say, I was the first.
I'm looking forward to it happening. We've got to make the change. It's got to happen. It's got to happen now.
We have to actually put a campaign on the ground in support of $12 to move it to the minimum wage up. It's got to be happening now. The cost for living in New Zealand is very, very high, and it's got to happen now. The government is talking about maybe in 3 years, not acceptable. That youth rates have got to go, and the casualisation, there's not one worker employed in the fast food industry who has a full-time security of work. They're all casuals. They get turned off and turned on as it suits the employer.
$12 now! $12 now!
And it's a campaign that's been months in the making.
As you guys all know, the minimum wage in New Zealand is a lot lower than it is in Australia. When I told them what minimum wage is in New Zealand, they all freaked out.
Unite is planning a summer of industrial action targeting not just Starbucks but all fast food businesses that pay low wages to a largely casualised workforce. The union has 5,000 members, 2,000 in the fast food industry.
Have you got your timing right? Because the economy is starting to slow down. Can these businesses afford it?
It is a great time. The summer is coming up and the company's been doing very, very well. When they go to their shareholders, everything is great. When they speak to the workers, everything is bad. Look, the price of housing's going through the roof. It's the governor and the government are trying to slow the economy down. Business is doing very, very, very well. but the workers have been going backwards. And so that's the game.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be this big, but you know, we've set the ball rolling, we've made some action, and hopefully some change will come from this, because it's what needs to happen.
Claire Sylvester reporting. Nick Ogle, the worker, ending that report. Nick is 16 years old. He works for Starbucks. He gets $10 an hour. If he worked a 40-hour week, that would give him $322 in the hand. $322 a week in the hand. Across the United States, Starbucks workers are closely monitoring the New Zealand strike. No, really, they are. In particular, the man who began the Starbucks Workers' Union in America, Daniel Gross. He's urging workers in New York to follow suit and believes a copycat strike is on the cards there. Last year, during a peaceful union rally outside the 36 and Madison Starbucks, where Gross worked, he was arrested along with a fellow unionist. There he is there. The man was singled out by police after the company claimed customers were being harassed, but all charges were later dropped. The rally was being held to encourage Starbucks staff to join the union. Not an easy thing to do in the States, as we'll see. So I spoke with Daniel Gross this afternoon and asked him about his reaction to the strike action here in Auckland.
John, it's great to be with you because this is a historic day. This is the first time in the world that Starbucks workers are going on strike. And while we're dismayed that Starbucks forced the situation, I'm overjoyed that Starbucks workers in New Zealand are taking a stand. They're taking a stand not only for baristas around the world, but for workers at these retail chain stores the world over.
Daniel, what is your contact with the union here? Have you been talking to the union and to the workers here?
Yes, the IWW and Unite have been sharing strategic information about Starbucks, especially the way Starbucks conducts their anti-union campaigns. We've also shared ideas about tactics and other strategies to gain what's right, what Starbucks workers deserve, and that's a living wage.
Daniel, is it that bad, really, working at Starbucks?
Well, let's start with the financial picture. In the United States, Starbucks workers earn in a range of $6, $7, or $8 an hour. So the wage itself is very low, but the financial picture gets even worse. Every single retail hourly employee at the Starbucks Coffee Company in the United States, and this is true around the world except where national law dictates otherwise, is a part-time worker. That means none of us is guaranteed any number of hours per week. I can go and get my schedule tomorrow, and I can have 32 hours of work. The next week I can come in and I can have 15 hours of work. The very next week they can give me 12 hours. And without a union, I'd have no recourse.
Okay, you formed the union. I was very surprised to find out that you started the union as recently as May of last year. Was Starbucks not at all unionized in the States prior to that?
That's right. We came together as the first Starbucks store in the nation, and we announced that we'd had enough. You know, it's not only the financial picture. Forming a union is more than bread and butter. It's about bringing democracy into the workplace. It's about getting rid of this notion that we shed our rights to liberty when we walk through the door at work. And I want to point out a dirty little secret that the company has, and that dirty little secret is repetitive strain injuries. These injuries, like carpal tunnel syndrome, are very prevalent at the company. The reason is simple. Management has consistently refused to schedule enough workers on the shop floor at a given time to meet the really extraordinary demand that a Starbucks coffee shop faces each and every day. Look, this is not a quaint, old world coffee shop. This is not our grandmother's coffee shop. This is a McDonald's-like entity. You know, there are lines almost out the door several times a day. So you're forced to do the work at unsafe speeds.
Daniel, are you expecting the workers at Starbucks throughout the States to be interested, remotely interested in the fact that their very distant and, well, remote colleagues in New Zealand are going on strike?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's widespread discontent at this company, and anytime workers take a stand and tell the company, look, we're human beings, we're not vending machines, we come to work, we work hard every day, we deserve to live above the poverty line. Oh, there's no doubt. This is an inspirational moment for every Starbucks worker in the United States.
Daniel Gross, the man who started the Starbucks union in the US. Thank you so much for your time, Daniel.
Been good to be with you.
Yes, indeed, Daniel Gross. Now, at this stage, we should clarify something, and that thing is this. Starbucks New Zealand is operated by the company Restaurant Brands. Pizza Hut and KFC are also theirs. We were very keen to have Restaurant Brands on the program, not only to ask them about today's strike, but also to discuss the ways in which they see themselves as better employers than Starbucks America. But, disappointingly, their CEO, Vicky Salmon, refused to appear on this program this afternoon. She issued a statement. In part, it says, "We have an excellent relationship with our partners," by which she means staff, "and respect their rights to belong to a union. It's a personal choice." The statement, which was issued through a well-known Auckland PR company, goes on to say, "We pay above the minimum wage. In addition to the higher pay rate, offer well-respected staff training programs, a strong career path to management positions, and flexible work hours for those that want them." And she's right. The minimum adult wage is $9.50, they pay $10. So what of wage rates here? Well, raising the minimum wage to $12 an hour by 2008 was one of the policies New Zealand first demanded from Labour for its coalition support. But for the time being, our minimum adult wage remains $3.60 an hour less than Australia, and it's at $7.60 for youth workers. But Ruth Dyson, Minister of Labour, is firm that a minimum rate is just that. Employers can do better if they choose.
Of course the employer can pay the person more, and where it's clear that the young person, a 17-year-old, is doing the work at exactly the same level of productivity as a 25-year-old, they would have a solid argument to mount with a good employer that they should receive higher. The minimum wage isn't the maximum wage, it's just the minimum.
Labour Minister Ruth Dyson after the break. Big header Chris Cairns is in the studio for an exclusive interview on his eagerly awaited recall to the Black Caps, and then lightning bolts. They're 4 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Really? So how do people survive being hit?
Earn it, big style. A lot of people work for it and earn lots of money, you know, like lawyers or those dudes who wash windows at car stoplights. A lot of people work for it and don't earn much at all. That's why we're down here today at the Supersize My Pay Packet protests, showing our support for dudes that work hard but don't earn much dosh, yo. So we're going to take it to the streets, try and get some dudes involved and chant the phrase, "Give me that moolah, yo. Give me that moolah, yo. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that moolah, yo."
Everybody to give that a massive cheer, because it takes a lot of guts to go on strike, especially if you're under 18. Money, yeah! Let's get that money, come on! Yeah, money! Once against the machine is playing the bloody... I know! And we're going to go to McDonald's, we're going to go to the other fast food outlets, get some food down.
From McDonald's. I got arrested for the last protest.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I'm not allowed to go in there for 2.5 years.
Oh my god, they put a ban on people going to McDonald's?
Yeah, because if we did like a legal strike and stuff.
So what are they going to do if you go in there? You're not like throw Big Macs and like milkshakes at you or something? What does moo mean?
I have no idea. It's just cool to say really loudly.
What?
It's cool to say really loudly.
Moo. Moo! 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 No one knows what it means. Oh, just got some McDonald's protesters leaving work. Booyah! What about your co-workers? Did they not want to come?
Yeah, I tried, but no, they didn't want to come.
Were you totally like shoveling fries in a box and just like, nah, I'm out of here right now?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, thanks, man. Good on you, mate. Good luck. That doesn't rhyme. Man, are you protesting against the protest?
No, definitely not. This is just my all-purpose sign that I take everywhere.
You guys are at the front line. Are you a bit scared? No, I'm not. Bringing it back here to the streets. Come on, dude. You got the big thing. What does that say?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You don't know what it says? It could say I'm dumb. Wouldn't be that. Hey, who cares what it says? Mine says cha-ching.
Oh, sweet.
Let's do it. Oh, C4.
C4, right.
Yeah. C4.
Play more Slipknot.
Play more Slipknot, C4. Jeez, wake up. Slipknot's the word, dudes. Hey, we'll try and play some
And Slayer.
Slayer. All right, we'll try. Besides my pay rate. 2, 4, 6, 8. Besides my pay rate. 2, 4, 6, 8. Besides my pay rate. Bang. Supersize it. They better bloody supersize it. What? Well, they better do it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're going to feel pretty bad on Monday if they don't do anything.
Yeah, they probably will. I hope they do. I hope they raise it.
And you work for McDonald's or like one of those other fast food outlets?
Not yet.
Not yet, but you're hoping to.
Well, if they raise it.
And if they go to $12, I'd get a job there. That's more money than I'm getting.
Yeah, $12 is good.
Let's do it. And I am. What do you think I'm doing here? I used to work for Burger King. I used to get $5 an hour. Let's do it. Okay, we've got a cop guy who's getting chased by the protest. He's getting chased away. Hey, mate, you're getting chased away by the protest. What? You're getting chased away by the protest.
No, not at all.
What's your job here?
I just released cars, protect them from the traffic.
Cool, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Watch out for protesters, okay?
No, not a worry.
Cheers, mate. Right, they're singing, oh, McDonald had it straight, E-I-E-I-O. Strike. Strike! Strike. Strike! Yes, strike.
Yes, strike! Yes, strike.
Yes, strike.
Oh!
How do you feel about all this activity over here? It's amazing. Hey, you been down? I'm trying to have a coffee over here. You're gonna come and join the protest?
No, not at the moment.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
And why have you come down to the protest today?
Not to protest.
You're a protester.
Yes, one of those kinds.
What, you think these guys earn enough money already?
I earn enough money. I'm fine, but obviously not. $12 would be good.
What do you do? You like a lawyer or something?
I wish. Starbucks.
Oh, you work at Starbucks?
I do, yes.
Dude, what? And you're completely fine with your wages?
Well, if they bump them up, it's all good, but if not,
whatever.
Too bad for me.
Man, your dog's on strike too.
Yep.
Hey, dog, how's it going, dude? I would never kiss a dog, usually, but I'm in a protest and I just don't care.
Now's your opportunity.
It's kind of nice. Thank you for that. I'm sorry, Mr. Lester. See you, baby. See you. Oh! That went in my mouth then. That was a bit gross. This could turn ugly. Man, I used to work at Burger King, seriously. Come on! Burgers! Why are we sitting down? No one knows. We're just sitting down.
No idea whatsoever.
Just chilling out for a bit.
I guess so, yeah.
Protesters need a rest.
I suppose so.
Sitting down. 6. 5. C5. Oh my God! We're running now! This is mega! This is mega! Bring them back to the street! I don't know why we're running! Are they cops? Oh my God! How's the nanas? Watch out for the nanas! Oh my God, there's a kid back there! Where's that dog I kiss? Where's that dog I kiss? Ruby! Oh! Cheers!
These guys are from C4, and we all know that lots of young people who don't go on strikes and stuff will watch the TV, and it's really nice that they came to support us. Give it up for C4!
Thanks!
And now they have to give us a free show every Friday. Oh, is that true?
Dude, I'll try my best. I'll try my best. Can I speak to the people?
Here you go.
How you feeling, dudes? We've been doing a bit of running, doing a bit of sitting down, doing a bit of sneaking. Do you think they've heard us? Because we want $12! And you are!
Tell them where you used to work.
I used to work in Burger King. I used to get
seriously, I worked in Burger King, North Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. I used to get $5.50 on weekdays and $7.35 on weekends. It's pretty crap, but I was happy with it. But whatever. You guys want $12? That's awesome! Let's do it!
Man, we need to go over to where is it? That rich place? Remuera? Yeah. Get over there, knock on some doors. Dudes, if you live in Remuera, you got some money, I know it. Give some to these guys.
Yeah.
How much do you want? Let's ask for it right now.
$12, you know, $12.
Just 12 bucks?
No, 100 grand each. Well, 100 grand each, yeah.
100 grand each for these guys, and I'll have, like a house somewhere?
Yeah.
Cool. Check it out. Send it to, just next week, down at the wharf, bring it in a black suitcase?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Next Sunday, bring it, yo. Yeah. I'm hanging ahead with Cody, the hairiest dude on the planet. How'd the protest go?
It's pretty good.
Dude, we're going to send a message home to all you guys watching. Keep up the protests. Get more money, yeah?
Yep.
And keep watching C4. It's good.
Definitely.
Cheers, dudes. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Your hair feels nice on my face.
Thank you.
As the Boobs on Bikes parade was in progress, trade unionists were also out in downtown Auckland to oppose a law which would have given employers the right to fire new staff after 90 days, no questions asked. But the unionists needn't have worried. The Māori Party has decided not to support the bill, and without the Māori Party, it looks certain to fail. Ingrid Hipkiss reports.
Employment.
Māori Party co-leader Peter Sharples chose a union rally to announce that the party's pulling its support for the bill. Sharples says voting for it initially hurt the party.
You've got an email a day, you know, like 20 a day, and some of the language wasn't too friendly, you know, and that. So, yeah, it's been a hard time for us.
Unions protested loudly against the bill, under which all workers would face a 90-day trial period, during which they could be sacked, no questions asked.
It's important that the Māori Party has realised the damage that this legislation will do to working New Zealanders. I never doubted for a moment that the Māori Party would come in the end and oppose this legislation. Better late than never.
The bill's sponsor, National MP Wayne Mapp, says he'd be prepared to soften the bill, for example by making it only apply to people who've never had a job before to win back support.
That's what the Select Committee process is about, and I say to the Māori Party, look at all of that when it comes out of the Select Committee.
But Māori Party MPs say their minds are made up. That means the bill will be voted down when it's back before Parliament at the end of the year. Ingrid Hipkiss, 3 News.
Noisy union members packed Auckland's Aotea Square to protest the bill, although their rally was delayed by a certain parade down Queen Street. But once they focused on the 90-day bill, the Māori Party had the news the workers wanted to hear.
We've analysed the submissions, we've talked to everybody under the sun, and we've come to the conclusion that there's no way in the world that we will support this bill.
As always in politics, this was about numbers. Originally, there were 61 votes for the bill, which was a majority if the Māori Party supported it. Now all 4 members have withdrawn that support. The bill is dead.
The unions claimed Wayne Mapp's bill gave employers the right to sack workers in their first 3 months without giving a reason.
If it had gone into law, up to 300,000 workers in each 3-month period would have been at risk of losing their job with absolutely no right of appeal, no right to even be heard, plus a whole bunch of other rights would have been stripped away from them.
The Māori Party's decision follows thousands of submissions to the Select Committee considering Wayne Mapp's bill.
Well, I certainly understood they were going to wait till the end of the Select Committee process, and so in that sense I'm a bit disappointed at that specific announcement.
The workers at today's demonstration, probably the biggest union protest since the early 90s, were given 2 hours on full pay to attend. John Stewart, 1 News.
On the noes are 50, the motion is agreed to.
A vote that could mean bigger pay packets for workers under 18 years. The bill is Green MP Sue Bradford's baby, and tonight pushed hard in the debate to see youth pay rates scrapped.
There seems to be a myth embedded in some older people's consciousnesses that if you're young, you're not worth as much.
There are over 26,000 workers under 18. They've taken off their school uniforms to go on strike all over the country. 17-year-old Chris Almario is a supervisor at Burger King. He's paid $9 an hour, 50 cents less than the adult minimum wage.
I'm working harder than they are and they're getting paid more than me.
But sympathy seemed in short supply on the opposition benches. ACT's Rodney Hyde said those in support of the bill are living in fairyland.
That is not how the world works. If we want to get wages up in this country, Madam Speaker, we don't do it by passing laws. We do it by increasing the productivity of this economy.
But it's early days yet. All the issues raised by scrapping youth rates will be thrashed out at Select Committee. The adult minimum wage is also set to go up to $10.25 at the end of March. And young workers will continue to argue they're worth the same. Hannah Hodson, One News.
Green MP Sue Bradford's members' bill aims to abolish the law that sets the youth rate at 80% of the minimum wage. Demelza Hastings has more.
It's been a heated campaign, and at this Auckland KFC outlet, the union representing youth workers was again today making its point. The youth workers wear the same uniform and have the same duties as some of their older workmates. But the difference here is that they get paid less for it.
I'm only 16 and I earn $8.80. And I do the exact same work as older people, but they get paid more.
And often these young people are in supervisory roles.
There's a lot of young people who are actually not only experienced workers, but are also employed as shift managers or supervisors, training and bringing on new staff who may well be older than them, and yet they're on lower wages. It simply doesn't make sense and it's not fair.
16-year-old Renee Polachuk says it's discriminatory.
I ended up training people who were 20, 19 years old, and they were getting paid about $12 an hour, whereas I was on $6.30 an hour.
The minimum hourly rate for 16 and 17-year-olds is $7.60. They are paid more than $1 less than those aged 18 and over. From the end of March, these rates will rise by 60 and 75 cents respectively. The business community says levelling the minimum wage will cost jobs and make it harder for youth to get their first job.
16 and 17-year-olds often have very little skill. They not only have no technical skills when they come up to work, but they'll often lack that come-to-work skill, timekeeping and teamwork and so on. So if you're going to make it just as expensive to employ them as 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds, it's much more likely that employers won't employ them.
But young people say they're willing to take the risk. Demelza Hastings, 3 News. By a car and a small grass fire being lit outside a KFC outlet. Around 15 fast food workers were issued trespass notices after police were called to the KFC at Botany Downs. A grass fire was lit just as a picketer was hit by a car going into the drive-through area.
There was one incident where a woman driving a very large 4x4 with bull bars on the front actually used the vehicle to nudge a young worker out of the way. You know, emotions run high.
The protester was not hurt. The picket was part of an ongoing campaign seeking to get the minimum wage raised to $12 an hour.
Airport when food court workers went on strike for better pay and conditions. The workers' union says the mainly Māori and Pacific Island workers are being treated like slaves, as John Stevenson reports.
What do we want? Fair pay! When do we want it? Now!
They've had a gutsful. Food court workers went on strike today, fed up with working conditions their union describes as medieval.
We believe the workers at the Auckland International Airport food court have the worst employment agreement in the country.
And here's why. The workers are given a start time but no finish time. Their employer can send them home even after an hour if, for example, the airport is fogged in. And even staff who have worked 40 hours a week for several years have no permanent positions and no guaranteed income.
They don't make anything at all. They don't make anything at all. Sorry to say that.
And how much would most of them take home?
Oh, say about 200, 235.
Let's have a little bit of a response to these questions.
Employees have also been forced to work up to 7 hours without a break, and they can be told to work up to 10 days in a row.
Train our
The workers' employer is a joint venture between the host Marriott Services Corporation and the Auckland International Airport Company. The union says it's outrageous two such profitable companies should be treating employees so badly, especially as the airport company is part owned by the Auckland and Manukau City Councils.
We've been negotiating with this company for 3 years. They have done everything possible to stop concluding a collective employment agreement with us.
So the union opted for a bit of megaphone diplomacy. Many travellers were sympathetic, but the airport company's security men were not impressed.
Don't touch me, sir, it's assault. Do not touch me. This is an absolute national disgrace. The worst employment agreement in New Zealand. If anybody can find a worse one, let us know.
The airport company declined to speak to us. The food court workers say they won't give up until their voice is heard. John Stevenson, 3 News.
All right, and John tells us he's just heard from the employer of the food court workers. They say they're committed to negotiating with the union, but in the meantime, it is business as usual.
Cinemas are urging moviegoers to boycott popcorn until those dishing it out are better paid. Unite Union says cinema supervisors are worse off than supervisors in the fast food industry, and that the best offer cinema attendants have had is discounted ice cream. David Farrier reports.
These cinema workers weren't serving popcorn tonight. They were dishing up a protest because they say the Sky City cinema chain isn't taking their demands for more pay seriously.
They haven't met our demands for our negotiation. The only thing that they have met is that we get discount off our scooped ice creams. Currently the supervisors and the CAs who work below the supervisors, the gap between the pay is only $1.
As well as getting cast a toot, they're also requesting movie lovers boycott the thing they love most.
What we're encouraging the public to do is basically boycott the candy bar. Don't buy anything from the candy bar. It's not only is it hugely marked up, but it's also a way in which we can take industrial action.
I decided to see if the prices really are that bad. Now, cinemas aren't keen on cameras, something to do with piracy, so I've got this hidden camera to find out how much it is for a medium popcorn and a large Coke. Now, unfortunately, in my excitement, the audio cable became unplugged from my elaborately hidden camera. But I can tell you, after assessing the prices, the best deal was the Coke popcorn combo at $9.50.
People complain about the prices and say that the prices go to us. As the workers, we don't really see much of that price increase.
Now it's up to cinema goers whether or not they show support for these guys or these guys. David Farrier, 3 News.